A raging fire destroys a city bond. The Calypso Monarch gets his prize and promises a Party Monarch-like show next year under a new name. The Barbados Bottling Company on course to be a zero-waste management company. And in sports, Lodge and Combermere advance to the BCA Under-15 final.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Fire ripped through a bond on Reed Street in the city this morning, but workers assured they still have a job. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Billowing smoke from the raging inferno that engulfed the Builders Value Mart bond. This is what greeted officers from the Barbados Fire Service when they arrived on the scene, having received a call about a structural fire around 9:28 in the morning. Chief Fire Officer Errol Maynard said on reaching the location, only one operational hydrant was found, creating a challenge for the firefighters. It restricted their operation, but they received good support from the Barbados Water Authority, which responded with additional water tankers.
One or two of them that were dry, but we initially we set up with a hydrant that had water. When we were trying to expand the operation, we recognized that two of them closer to the Baxter Road area were dry. We have to do an investigation and see if these hydrants are on an abandoned main, because although they are dry, they are in Reed Street, but some of the ones in Reed Street also have water. So we have to check and see if that is abandoned main, and then we will have those hydrants removed from the area. But it did not stop us from setting up the initial operation.
The fire chief said they responded to the fire with 3 tenders from the new Bridgetown Port facility and from the fire service headquarters.
We also augmented that with the CLP, that's the ladder truck, the tanker, and a couple of small appliances. We have about 25 personnel here on the scene at the moment. The fire is approximately 50% contained. The building involved collapse during the suppression exercise. No one has been injured, and we have no reports of any person or any civilians being injured either. No fire officers or any of the civilians injured. Currently we have some assistance from a number of agencies, the Barbados Water Authority, their tanker, because we have a little bit of challenge with water from some of the hydrants, so the Water Authority sent a tanker to assist us. We have assistance from the DEOs and the roving response team in providing water, tent, and some other equipment to assist the officers.
The fire chief also thanked the nearby Reed Street residents for their assistance in helping them contain the blaze.
We had one exposure, a house to the western side of the structure. It had some minor damage in the roof. It was spotted very early by the officers. The fire was coming from the roof. We attacked that from inside and on outside, and that was brought under control and extinguished in quick time.
Visibly shaken businesswoman and the managing director of Builders Value Mart, Mrs. Ram Merchant Danny, said no one will be out of work, but it's a great loss for the business.
I don't know. I am too upset to talk, because every time we try to crawl and walk up and come up, something happens. But maybe that is my destiny, and God has saved us from a lot of trouble now. People are nice. They've been doing, the commissioners and people, the fire department is here. We got the bond only done. The main building is still there. God will help us. Please pray for me.
Firemen have set up a temporary outpost in Reed Street to keep a vigil on the smoldering remnants of the blaze as investigations continue into the incident. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
The Soca Rumble competition, intended to replace Party Monarch, will be on the 2025 crop over calendar. 2024 Calypso Monarch Adrian Clark has indicated that he will be making yet another attempt to stage the competition, which was cancelled in 2023. Anesta Henry has the details.
Last year crop over from the time I dropped me song.
In 2025, Barbadians can look forward to the return of the Party Monarch competition under the new name Soca Rumble. Addressing members of the media at Courtesy Garage, where he received the keys to his 2024 Nissan X-Trail, this year's Pick of the Crop winner, Adrian A.C. Clark, declared Soca Rumble will be happening next crop over.
Party Monarch for 2025, in my books, will be happening. So we're going to be going back to what was being done in 2023, what I started. And we can definitely make it happen for 25, sorry. And yeah, it definitely will be happening. It will be one of the biggest prizes ever, as far as I would say as it goes, but we definitely work to getting everything started. We're looking at giving the biggest prize to whoever wins that competition.
The event, scheduled to be held at Bushy Park on July 31st, 2023, was cancelled after Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley declared that date a national holiday, CARICOM 50 Day. Mr. Clark says he intends to reach out to corporate Barbados and other sources for sponsorship and support.
I'm going to be out there, so making myself a pest with corporate Barbados. If you really want to see this show happen, you gotta get some support, you know. And the support is going to be necessary financially. We can definitely need support, you know, and just see where people can get the return on their investments, etc. So they can discuss all that stuff. I'm quite sure if I speak with the NCF, they can come on board too. You never know. The thing is, the win-win situation for everybody.
Given an assessment of Crop Over 2024, the RT says there will always be those who criticize because they don't understand what it means to organize a festival of such magnitude.
Everybody like criticize NCF. Everybody like criticize who at the helm. I guess it seems as though that's a job once you get the helm to be criticized. And fortunately, who's at the helm normally got brought back. So you don't really worry when I hear people criticizing because the shoe is not on their foot. They're just there watching on, right? To put on a festival is a huge thing. And when you look at the personnel that you're allowed to, that you have to work with, small group, you know, but they do a wonderful job. Nothing is perfect. I don't expect anything to be perfect, but as far as I'm concerned, the thing is you take the critiques and you work with them.
Meanwhile, Mr. Clark says, in his opinion, the Soca 5.0 event, which attracted more than 10,000 patrons, was the best event for the season. The three-time monarch, who just had a few days to prepare for the Pick of the Crop finals, says he is looking forward to cruising in his Nissan X-Trail. And for those wondering, the Going for Crown singer is promising to defend his title next year. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
Thank you, Anesta. The Barbados Bottling Company is steadfast in its mission to be a zero-waste management company in the region. And while the United Nations Environment Programme has lauded the efforts, it says more needs to be done throughout the region to reduce the amount of waste produced. A team from the UNEP had a first-hand look at the BBC factory today as part of a Zero Waste in the Caribbean Project Partners Tour. Rachel Agard was there and filed this report.
The Barbados Bottling Company is well on its way to being designated a zero-waste management facility. This is according to General Manager Andrew Thomas. He says while they are yet to start the necessary paperwork to receive certification, they reduce, reuse and recycle daily at the Newton Christchurch plant.
We don't only talk this, we do this every day. We've been doing this now for 3 decades. The deposit legislation has been in place since 1991. And from then to today, we've been a proponent and supporter of that initiative. To show the commitment, we even made a roof tile from the material that was collected. And that was 2000, not 2020, that was 2000. So that shows the sort of commitment and dedication we have in working not only with stakeholders, but developing our own initiatives that's going to help to resolve this issue of plastics.
Mr. Thomas says while they collect 80% of produced plastics, the percentage rate of return had declined during the COVID-19 pandemic.
It was specifically driven by COVID. You know, there were so many restrictions with COVID, you couldn't congregate and do business as you would in the past. So we have a plan in place to educate the consumer and enhance the collection mechanism. So within the next 2 years, we see it, we're projecting to be back at 85–90%.
Head of the Caribbean Sub-Regional Office for the UN Environment Programme, Vincent Sweeney, says he is impressed by the strides BBC has made in managing the plastics manufactured during production. But he says more work needs to be done to combat the scourge, and the group is advocating for a new treaty to reduce and eliminate plastic pollution globally.
What we are hoping is to see the larger producers set an example, and that others can follow. And not just, again, the emphasis is not just in Barbados, but across the region, the Caribbean region, as well as globally. And that's what we're really pushing for as the UN Environment Program, is to see elimination of plastic pollution globally. Not elimination of the use of plastics, that would be unreasonable, but the elimination of plastic pollution and reduction, obviously, of single-use plastics.
The overall hope now is to educate the country and the region at large on how to reduce the use of plastics. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
We'll take a break here, but coming up, the Sanitation Service Authority takes issue with the operations of some roadside mechanics. Roadside mechanics in communities are proving to be a hindrance to access for the collection of garbage by the Sanitation Service Authority. Public Relations Officer Carl Padmore says the way vehicles are set down by some mechanics is a challenge.
In St. Thomas, we have that issue. We have vehicles blocking in St. Barnabas. We have vehicles blocking in some areas of Rendezvous, some areas of St. George. So we are appealing to Barbadians. We know that you want to do business, and we would want you to do business, but also give us some consideration so that our drivers can maneuver to get in to get the waste.
A is also unhappy with what it deems to be disrespectful parking blocking access to the Westbury Cemetery. Mr. Padmore says the presence of several private vehicles at the entrance and exit of the cemetery is having an impact on funerals.
What this is doing is that when the funeral directors come in with their entourage and they attempt to turn in, and even when they're leaving, they can't make the turn, and therefore it is hindering the procession from going in. We are very, very concerned about that, and we are appealing to those who visit friends, family in Westbury, or those who are doing business, like you're visiting Rihanna's Drive. Please have some consideration that Westbury is an active business place. It's a cemetery, and we want you to obey that.
Barbados and the region are said to be facing a crisis with regard to criminal justice. Acting President of the Caribbean Court of Justice, Honorable Dr. Justice Winston Anderson, pointed to the high crime rates, overcrowded crime remand centers and prisons, and inadequate rehabilitative services in the region. He advised that criminal justice reform is integral to turning this around. The advice came as he addressed a criminal justice reform conference in Belize. That conference focused on advancing the Redeem's Point Declaration, a pivotal framework for criminal justice reform in the Caribbean. Now, over 120 representatives from across the criminal justice system, including from Barbados, are attending that conference. Justice Anderson stressed the importance of ensuring the swift completion of criminal cases, highlighting news of one judge in Belize completing 30 criminal cases and another 29 and 27 cases in 7 months. All right, time for Sports Night now as we're joined by Mark Seal. Mark, good evening.
Very good evening. We're going to start with cricket, where it'll be Milo Lodge School and Nichols Bacon Combermere for the final of the BCA Under-15 competition. On the second and final day of the semi-finals, the Lodge fought back from losing first innings lead to defeat St. Leonard's by 89 runs. Playing at Layers, Lodge resumed their second innings on 74 for 3 and declared on 148 for 8. Shaniko Sargent top scored with 50. Set 128 for victory, St. Leonard's were bowled out in their second innings for 38. Liam Seeley had the excellent figures of 7 for 11. Meanwhile, at Briar Hall, Combermere won their semi-final by an innings and 13 runs after a second innings batting collapse by Christchurch Foundation. Combermere resumed their first innings on 81 for 1. That was 25 runs away from first innings lead, and Justin Paris, who resumed on 37, took his team closer to that target when this edge off of Asher Bramford goes to the vacant third slip area and third man for 4. The other overnight batsman was Khalik Fort on 15. Bamford added the third slip, but not the third man. So this thickish edge goes for 4, once the third slip fielder's dive was in vain. Kamani Clark picked up from the southern end for Foundation, and he bowled a good spell, but he wasn't able to prevent Paris from reaching his 50. This punch down to long on gave him the single for the landmark. But that run exposed Fort as he played across this delivery from Clark that was pitched in line and going on to hit the stumps. He's out leg before wicket for 20. Paris was the mainstay for Combermere, and once he was there, they had the advantage. Branford going into the mud, Paris pulling it to long leg, but sloppy fielding gives up 4 more. The Waterford boys with first in his points and trying to bat Foundation out of the game. So along with using up time at the crease, the aim was also to pile on the runs. Paris taking a short ball from Clark and swinging it to deep backward of square for another boundary. Clark, though, would get his act back together. Najee Ward, playing away from his body, has his edge broken, and he's smartly snapped up by Alex Armstrong at first slip. He's gone for 9, and that's Clark's second wicket. A bowling change by Foundation at the northern end would bring success. Dimitri Walcott would take up the attack, and Branford would take over the gloves. And that combo would see the dismissal of Gavin Firebrace, stumped for 3, as he dragged the back foot, and Branford had the bails off in a flash. The score, 130 for 4. Now that wicket would bring Marcus Jatt to the crease, and he wasn't playing for time. Here he puts away this wayward delivery from Walcott to the long leg boundary for 4. However, at the other end, Clark would get another, and this one was the big fish. Paris, prodding bat and pad, Branford taking the catch and asking a question, and got the umpire's agreement, much to the disagreement of the batsman, who thought it was all pad. But the umpire didn't see it that way, so Paris is gone for a well-played 70 that included 6 fours and a 6. The new batsman, Azriq Butcher, was in for just 4 balls when he played across a straight one from Clark and lost his leg stump for a duck. Clark would pick up his 5th wicket by disturbing the stumps again. Deshaun Brown, playing for the breaking ball, is tricked by the one that slides on and is bowled for 1. Clark at 5 for 37, and Combermere at that stage were 147 for 7, a lead of 41. And Combermere only added 22 more to be dismissed for 169, a first innings lead of 63. Foundation, though, were then dismissed in their second innings for only 50, as Rick Butcher-Lewis led Combermere's charge with 4 for 6 from 4.3 overs. So the 3-day final between Combermere and the Lodge will be played September 10th to 12th. In more cricket news, St. Lucia Kings have moved to the top of the Republic Bank CPL standings after last night's victory over Antigua and Barbuda Falcons. Sent into bat at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua, the Falcons made 142 for 7. Justin Graves top scored with 36, while left-arm wrist spinner Noor Ahmad took 3 for 18 to earn the Player of the Match award. In reply, the Kings romped to 144 for 3 from 17 overs to win by 7 wickets. Johnson Charles made a labored 47 not out from 46 deliveries, but Tim Seifert smashed an 11-ball unbeaten 26 with a 4 and 3 sixes. So the Kings have 4 points from 2 matches, and they're just ahead of Barbados Royals on 2 points from 1 match. Now tonight's CPL fixture is in St. Kitts, with hosts, the Patriots, up against the Guyana Amazon Warriors. There was a bit of a rain delay, but when it does start, it'll be live on MCTV Sports Match Channel 310, while CBC TV 8 will air the match tape delayed from 8:03 p.m. Take a break here. Press when we come back, some news on the Prime Minister's Football Cup.
All right, Mark, thank you for all the action so far. We'll be right back with the business report. In business tonight, Barbados Minister of Tourism and International Transport Ian Gooding-Edghill has been elected the new chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization. The election took place during the CTO's annual general meeting in the Cayman Islands. As chairman, the Barbados minister will lead the CTO's Council of Ministers and Commissioners of Tourism for the next 2 years, guiding the organization's strategic efforts to enhance and promote tourism across the region. In addition to Gooding-Edghill's appointment, CEO of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, Andrea Franklin, assumes the role of chair of the board of directors of the CTO. Meanwhile, the State of the Tourism Industry Conference got underway with CTO member countries providing updates on the industry in their destinations. The conference, themed Caribbean Tourism, Fueling Our Lifeblood, will delve into the critical issues shaping the region's tourism landscape and explore innovative strategies for sustainable growth. Premier of the Cayman Islands, Juliana O'Connor Connolly, says each year millions flock to the region for numerous experiences. She is buoyed by its rebound from the blow brought by the COVID-19 pandemic and wants states to approach tourism with a commitment to sustainable development.
Sustainable tourism is about respecting our environment, our culture, and our own well-being. When we prioritize sustainable initiatives, we acknowledge the inescapable truth, which is that our people, our flora, and our fauna are linked together. Through acceptance of this profound fact, we are able to enhance the experiences for all of our guests. We must also advocate the practices which improve these ecological treasures while collaborating with local communities to develop responsible tourism policies.
Mobile gluten-free pizzas will soon be available in Barbados. It will be a new offering with healthy eating at the core of its decision to put it on the menu. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Director of Pizza Bums, Alicia Sobers, is bringing a different kind of pizza to Barbados. It is gluten-free and served from mobile stations already offering various meals. She says there will be additions to the menu as the business develops. With two locations, one on the south coast and the other on the west coast, she says eventually they will be all over the island.
We're working on getting a gluten-free option for those who don't like the gluten. And we're also trying to minimize the sweetness and the salt because we know there's a lot of diabetic issues on the island. So we're working to minimize that and make it healthier.
Ms. Sobers tells the business report the mobile operation is a work in progress and they are always giving a listening ear to customers.
We have learned a lot and we've grown. We started out at Browns Beach and now we decided to move our operations up north while we expand. So we're in the process of making a few more pods similar to this that we can have throughout the islands.
Hot, fresh and fast is their motto with a turnaround time of 7 minutes.
It is a mobile food service that offers pizza that is not your typical crust, but we have very thin or customizable crust, and we also do it to order. So it's not made and put down, it's actually made fresh to order.
Pizza Bums is open Monday to Saturday until 7 p.m. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Time now for tonight's trading report.
In Jamaica, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited, with 2,808,807 units, was the volume leader, followed by Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares and Sagicor Real Estate X Fund Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Guardian Holdings Limited was the volume leader, with 161,765 shares changing hands, for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $2,103,383, followed by Massey Holdings Limited. And here in Barbados, Epley Caribbean Property Fund Value Fund was the volume leader, trading 128,460 shares at Barbados 51 cents each, and they were followed by Goddard Enterprises Limited.
And that's tonight's business report. We'll take a break here. We're coming back to take a look at the weather with Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Time now for the weather report as we're joined by Carrie-Ann O'Neill. Carrie-Ann, good evening.
Good evening to you, Pearson. In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:47 and will set at 6 minutes past 6. The first high tide is expected at 4 minutes after 5 in the early morning, the first low at 6 minutes to 11 in the morning. Those seas, well, they're smooth to moderate in open water with swells peaking at 1.5 meters. The winds coming in from the east to the southeast, and they're peaking at 20 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we can expect a mix of clear and cloudy skies along with just a few light showers. And over the next 3 days, we'll be along the southern fringe of that tropical wave. As a result, we are expecting only partly cloudy skies along with a few showers tomorrow. Thereafter, light winds along with strong daytime heating will maintain cloudy skies during the afternoon along with showers and the chance of some isolated thunderstorms.
Well, as promised, Mark is back with more sports. Mark.
Indeed, two-time Olympian and windsurfing master Brian Talma is calling on Barbadians to join him this year as he promotes beach culture once again. His initiative to advocate for social causes while incorporating the love for the ocean started back in 2008. And this year, his focus is on a global organic tourism master plan.
And I strongly believe that this is a concept that really covers everything in Barbados, using beach culture as the central focal point. But when I say beach culture, and beach culture I say here, beach culture world tour is a lifestyle tour where everything revolves around the sea, integrity to thee and honesty to sea. So all these concepts, it took me almost to 2024 to really come up with this whole concept where I use, when we speak health, community, education, sports, culture and environment.
Talma believes Barbados has one of the best beach cultures and it should be put to positive use. The Prime Minister's Cup has been bringing some competitive football action to communities around the island as the semi-pro event has some big cash prizes in store for the winners. In our special segment, Let's Play Ball, we'll be taking a look at some of the teams vying for the title. We start with a team that is no stranger to winning and who has started the tournament as one of the favorites.
Let's play ball. Here's a look at the team gearing up to do battle in the inaugural Prime Minister's Cup. Perennial Premier League champions Weymouth Wales have thrown their hat into the bag to possibly add the title of inaugural Prime Minister's Cup champions and take away the grand prize of $100,000 Barbados dollars. And when we dropped in on a recent training session at their home base at Weymouth, the boys were in full business mode. Overseeing the session was assistant coach Andrew Jean, who revealed they already have a game plan in place.
We're taking this tournament extremely serious. The money alone says it all. It's $100,000. That could do wonders for a club like Wales in terms of infrastructure and what we're trying to achieve in the future. But we really want to win this tournament, and we want to win it with a bit of style, a bit of flair. Wales are known for flair. Wales are known for style. We want to bring that back to the Wales club this year, this tournament. We got a talent, first of all, to win the tournament. We need the application and the dedication, and we're seeing that also. As the previous champions, the last two tournaments, we are super happy. We're not overconfident. Every game, as it comes, we're going to take it. We're going to respect our opponents, but we feel very, very confident of winning this tournament. The guys are training very hard. We are putting different things in place in terms of tactical awareness, in terms of possession of where to be, and we really want to build up from the back and play with confidence.
And speaking of training sessions, the players are fully invested.
Practice has been going pretty good, and the team is very dedicated. A lot of national players, so if they're not here with us, they actually had national training, so they're keeping in shape. They're also in all the season tournaments, so we'll be training 3 times a week. These training has been going very, very well. It's very competitive. We are thrilled, to be honest, with the turnout, and they're preparing well for the tournament.
24 clubs are expected to participate, all 10 of the teams in the BFA Premier League, the top 6 from Division 1, and the top 4 each from the 2nd and 3rd divisions. So the boys in green know the competition will be stiff.
Lots of good teams in Barbados. Watton is always a good team. Brennan Hill is a good team. The new clubs coming up is pretty strong. UE is a pretty strong team also, but we're focused on us. Once we play our best game, it's going to be tough to beat us.
So as we gear up for a kickoff on the 25th, Weymouth Wales will be a team to watch for in the upcoming Prime Minister's Cup. That was Let's Play Ball. We just got some insight into the teams gearing up for the inaugural Prime Minister's Cup.
That's it for sports, Pearson. Back to you.
Thank you, Mark. Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you tomorrow.